back to the R&B News Report radio broadcast. This is your host, Randall Bundy. Tonight we've been talking about the Constitution of the United States, including the Second Amendment, and the importance of the documents of the Founding Fathers, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, including the first 10 amendments, commonly known as the Bill of Rights, and we've also been talking about how to counter the indoctrination of the left, the brainwashing of the leftists. Now, like I said in earlier segments, the leftists are well trained and educated in indoctrination, and their goal with doing away with the Second Amendment is so that we, the people, have no way to fight them should it become obvious, finally, that what they intend to do is instill a tyranny of dictatorship in our country, as they have in many countries. So there are many ways that they use indoctrination. First off, they appeal to the population and their sympathies. They try to convince us that, well, society will be a safer place for all of us if we just don't have any guns. Well, we can even clarify the fact that according to FBI statistics, a society is not safer when the entire population is stripped of guns. It is quite the contrary. In those cities and states that guarantee the Second Amendment right of gun ownership, those communities are by far safer. They have less violent crime. Why? Because the criminal class knows when they enter that community, be it a city, a state, or whatever, the chances are very likely that if they break into a home in the middle of the night, or a home invasion, or try to rape a woman, that possible victim of theirs may very well be armed. Even a violent criminal has enough common sense to know to avoid threat to themselves. Now, some of my listeners are from European countries, some are in Canada, and these countries, many of those countries, the citizens are not permitted to own guns, as in Britain. And some are also not permitted freedom of speech either. I can cite the countries where you cannot. It's up to the authorities to determine if your freedom of speech in some way promotes violence toward another racial group or ethnic group, if it's considered hate speech. In some countries, what I'm talking about right now could in fact be considered speech that is intended to provoke violence, which is pure nonsense. But there you have the results of a society that has been stripped of its rights to replace the government should that government become a tyranny. So after stripping the population of that ability, then the next thing they do is go after freedom of speech. Because after all, a tyrant, wants the entire population brainwashed and complacent and compliant. Is the connection between the two? I think it is. So for people throughout the world, I will be your voice of freedom. I'll be your light in the darkness, your voice of freedom in the wilderness, because freedom is my true message. Not just the Second Amendment. Yes, that's a vital part of it. But freedom, liberty, self-determination, self-responsibility, and much more, which I hope to cover here. For at least 50 some odd years, Europe has been enslaved by the leftists, and socialism is part of that enslavement. The leftists would like to keep the entire population ignorant and content. A free-thinking people, independent and capable of reasoning and logical thought, presents a threat to the slave masters, the leftists, the socialists, the progressives, the Marxists, communists, Maoists, Leninists, whatever the left may choose to call themselves on any given day. What they are peddling is enslavement under a different name. Now, the leftist leadership is not stupid. They are very clever. Along with their enslavement, they are also promising such things as socialism. To understand enslavement requires thinking for yourself. Do not believe what the present governments around the world tell you. They lie. They will make promises such as in Greece, Italy, and other countries whose economies are now collapsing. For some people, it may sound attractive, the promises that they make, that they can never keep. For a while it may even work out, but remember what Margaret Thatcher said. The problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money. What happens when socialism takes root? The economy suffers. The price of goods and services increase, and the people suffer. Socialism fails every time. Take money from the rich, and there will be no more rich people out there investing in the economy and the country, and starting businesses and hiring people. So, if you're getting out of college, where are you going to go to get a job? Where's the government going to get revenue from since they have stole all the money from the rich? There'll be no jobs for you. Think you will be a government worker and be immune to the suffering of society because you have a plush job working with government? Eventually, it will trickle down to you. Socialism is a big shark that eats its own. Look at Greece and Spain, Portugal, Italy. The brainwashing techniques of the left are not new. They've been around since the days of Karl Marx and long before. Karl Marx even openly instructed his followers in how to infiltrate labor organizations and other groups of dissatisfaction with the status quo, and he taught them how to take control of those groups. He also instructed his followers in how to brainwash the populace, whom he referred to as useful idiots. That is the general opinion of the leftists of you, the individual listening to me right now. The leftists regard you simply as a useful idiot, and they may offer you many things that sound attractive, but what they are bringing to you is enslavement. Remember the old fairy tale of a wolf in sheep's clothing. The leftists are the wolves, and you are the helpless sheep. The communists used to make reference to what they call the collective, and I referred to that earlier. It sounds harmless enough, right? Well, no, because it is enslavement for all, but a selected few. Now, same thing in Soviet Russia. They peddled the socialist economic doctrine, the free health care, but at the very top were the politically elite, and they lived pretty well. The political hacks who hope to reach to the top of the heap, they are the ones. Now, collectivism is in conflict with the individual nature of mankind. So the only thing the leftists can do is to try to brainwash the individual toward their way of thinking. But what I bring to you is freedom and liberty, and that which is most compatible to the nature of mankind, the individualism, free thinking and rationalizing, the liberated man and woman who are capable of analyzing and rationalizing things in the world. I do not try to convert you. I do not try to reform your mind. I do not ask you to become that is not natural. For if you think about it, the individualism is what is natural to us. Yes, we care about our neighbors, we care about our family, our fellow man. Read the doctrines of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights, and what is known as the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Freedom and liberty. That is what is most compatible to the nature of mankind, the individualism. At this point, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.